It's a little dark, if I do say so myself. But that's okay. We're just gonna work with it because it is finally looking like Christmas. Oh my goodness, it's so exciting. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It has been so long since I have posted anything or recorded anything. Hi, how you doing? I'm Melody, nice to meet you. Hi. We're gonna talk about something that is really, really near and dear to my heart, which is my weight loss journey. This is something that I wanted to talk about for a really, really, really long time, and I'm finally doing it. But I do want to preface this video with saying I'm going to be talking about eating disorders, I'm going to be talking about mental health, body image, diet, nutrition, exercise, all of that stuff. And if any of that triggers you, please, 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 please do not watch this video. The last thing I want to do is talk about something that could trigger someone else. So if any of that triggers you, or if you feel uncomfortable listening to that, please do not watch this video. I also want to say I am not a doctor, I am not a nutritionist, I'm not a dietitian, even close to it. What worked for me, I cannot tell you it's going to work for you. I have no idea if it's going to work for you. This is just my story. This is what worked for me. This is what got me to where I wanted to be. And yeah. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into the video so I can tell you about my weight loss journey. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about how I went from this to this to this, all within many years, many years, many trial and error, blood, sweat, and tears, all of that. All of those sayings you can insert right here, because let me tell you, so many lessons were learned going through this. But in order to start this journey, we have to go back to my freshman year of high school, which was in 2006, probably just aged myself. Anyways, so when I was around 13 or 14 years old, I did develop an eating disorder. Now, I cannot say which one it was technically here on YouTube because I could get in trouble or something like that. At least that's what I was told. But it was the one where I worked out a lot and I didn't eat enough to suffice for the amount of working out that I was doing. I was eating, I just wasn't eating enough for the amount of cardio and exercise that I was doing at the same time. So I lost a significant amount of weight in a very short amount of time, which sent my body through a loop. It was really, really, really hard on my body. And unfortunately, it got to the point where I had to get help for it. Now, I will make a whole complete different video on this topic, but let me tell you, if I were to combine that story with this story, this video would be way too long. Way too long. It would be way too long, and just nobody's got time for that. So I will make a whole separate video on my eating disorder journey and story and all of that kind of stuff. So stay tuned for that. But I did eventually end up getting help for it. I was in a rehab for quite some time, and after that I was on the road to recovery. Now, with that being said, my body did bounce back. It got back to normal, but over time, I want to say around my sophomore year of high school, I started noticing that I was feeling really, really tired all the time. My brain was foggy and I was gaining weight. It wasn't necessarily fat, it was water retention. My body was retaining water unlike I'd ever seen before, and I was bloated and I was swelled, and I just couldn't explain why. There was no rhyme or reason as to why my body was doing what it was doing. So we ended up going to the doctor. I got a lot of blood work done, and that is when I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism. And for those of you that do not know what hypothyroidism is, let me Google it so I can give you the exact definition for this. Uno momento.
2 hours later.
Okay, so hypothyroidism is a condition in which the thyroid gland does not produce enough thyroid hormone, according to Google. Now, so that is what was happening with my body at that time. So they ended up putting me on a medication which worked, and my body regulated itself. My thyroid levels became normal, and I went on my merry way. And that is what leads us to this picture right here. Unfortunately, my senior year of high school, I did in fact relapse. I did the same thing I did the first time. I over-exercised and didn't eat enough for the amount of working out that I was doing, and it got pretty bad. I lost a significant amount of weight again in a very, very, very short amount of time, and my body went through the loop again. And it was in a rather short amount of time. I don't think people quite understand that when you put your body through so much turmoil like I did, it takes a while for your body to kind of regulate itself, such as like hormones and, you know, just everything. I don't even know what it has to regulate, but I know that there are a lot of things that need to be regulated, and it takes some time to get your body back to what it's supposed to be. So to put my body through one eating disorder and then relapsing, it really, it did a number. Let me tell you, it did a number. And yeah, so I relapsed my senior year, and it was hard. So that's what I did. I started eating, I started confronting my issues, and yeah, I got better on my own. Unfortunately, my body did not get the memo with that, which leads us to this picture. This picture was probably around 2011, I want to say. This picture was taken in 2015, but this whole thing with my body started around 2011. All of a sudden, I was working out with a trainer at the time. Her name is Michelle McDaniels, and she does have a channel here on YouTube. Her thoughts will probably offend you, but I will link her down below. She is amazing. I was working out with her at the time, and I was gaining weight, and I kept gaining weight, and the scale kept going up, and there was no rhyme or reason as to why this was happening. And eventually I did get to my heaviest weight, which was 200 pounds. And with my frame and how petite I am, that just wasn't, it didn't make sense to me. I knew that something was wrong. I was eating right. I was working out. I was counting my calories. There was no rhyme or reason as to why this was happening. So I can't tell you how many doctors I visited in order to get diagnosed with Hashimoto's. It took about 10 doctors for me to finally get diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune disease in which your immune system attacks your thyroid, which is that butterfly gland that doesn't produce enough thyroid hormone. So basically, I described it as my thyroid was shot. She pieced out. She was over it. She was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore, which I get. You know, I put my body through a lot. So, but to get that diagnosis was hell. I can't tell you how many doctors it took, how many times I had to fight for myself in the medical world to get diagnosed. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, and polycystic ovarian syndrome too. So polycystic ovarian syndrome is when your ovaries develop cysts on them, and it makes insulin hard to break down. And at this time, basically, I was told that weight was always going to be an issue when I was diagnosed. Weight was always going to be an issue. I was always going to be tired, basically, and that I was not going to be able to conceive, or it would be really hard for me to conceive. And being told all that just did not sit well with me. Didn't agree with it, didn't like it, so I took matters into my own hands. I said thank you and goodbye. So I started trying to find answers and trying to find a solution on my own, because they said that there was no medicine, there was nothing that I could do in order to change this. So I took matters in my own hands and started with the one thing that I knew the best, which was diet. I started off being paleo and keto way before you could go into a store and anything was labeled paleo or keto. I had to look on the ingredients to try to find it. So that was the first thing that I did, and I did that for about a year. And then, by the grace of God, I stumbled across a video here on YouTube about someone going vegan. It was someone that I really watched, or I watched a lot at the time, and I really resonated with their story. They went vegan for the animals, for the planet, for the environment, and for those of you that do not know me, I am obsessed with animals. Not kidding. I used to think that I was Snow White and I could talk to animals when I was little. That was probably fun to watch. But yeah, so it just made sense for me. So overnight, I went vegan. And yeah, that was when I really started noticing a change. I did not go vegan for my weight. I did not go vegan for my health. I did not go vegan for any other reason than the animals. That was the main reason why I went vegan. And it just so happened that that was the answer for me. My level started going down, my tiredness started going away, my weight started coming off, and it was, I can't even tell you how amazing it felt to feel like my body was going back to normal, to feel like my body was becoming healthy again. After everything that I put it through, it was finally leveling out, and that was the most rewarding thing ever. So eventually I got down to a healthy weight, and I got down to a normal weight, which was super satisfying because that was my biggest fear coming true. That was something that, I'm not gonna lie, made me suicidal. It was hard, it was hell. So finally finding an answer and finally becoming normal, quote unquote normal, because let me tell you, this bitch will never be normal, but finally like getting to a place where my body was healthy, it was amazing. So around 2020 is when I started seeing my eating habits kind of get not good. I think everyone can agree with me that 2020 was a very, very, very hard year, and that 2020 put a lot of people through things. So I decided to hire a trainer, and that was the best decision that I ever made for myself, which brings me to this picture. Hiring a trainer and, you know, developing a great relationship with food again, and working out and learning how to work out, and, you know, trusting someone to get me to where I wanted to be, because clearly I could not do it by myself. Let's be real, it was not working for me the first 2 times. So yeah, I hired a trainer, and that is how I got to where I'm at now, which is, for me, it's not even about my body anymore. It's just about having a healthy relationship with food and working out, which is something that I never had before. And fortunately, what comes with that is having the body that I've always dreamed of, having the body that I had been fighting for since I was a freshman in high school. And it is the most rewarding and amazing feeling in the world to finally be where I'm at today. So yes, that is my weight loss journey. It was quite the journey, but I'm so glad that it happened. I just want to take a little second that if she is watching this video, my personal trainer, her name is Maddie, she is absolutely amazing. And for those of you that love online programs, that is what she offers, and I could not recommend her enough. She truly did save my relationship with food and working out, and she got me exactly to where I wanted to be, answer all my questions, and let me tell you, I ask a lot of questions. So yeah, for those of you that are struggling, I highly recommend a personal trainer. Not only is it gonna like benefit you with working out and your relationship with food, but they're also someone that you can rely on and that you can talk to and that you can talk about your problems with. It's like therapy. It's the best thing in the world. But anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is my weight loss journey. And again, one more thing, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a dietitian. Just because this worked for me does not mean that it's gonna work for you. So yes, I just wanna say that one more time. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.